We just came from game 7. Now, this was prime. It was 0 and 150. If you are to go into, if you're down 3-0 in all the series, if you're down 3, it's 0 and 150. Today became 0 and 151. When 100%, one moment, a good friend of mine here on the line, Monray. How you doing today, sir?
I've
I
had
think
better
this is
days.
I think that was the wrong question to ask. I should have said what you do for Memorial Day, but we'll jump right into it. Just getting started here. Just letting them know the record 0 and 150 before tonight. It is now 0 and 151 for people that can come back from 0-3. Now it felt like it was in prime position for Boston to make history, home game, all of that. But within the first 6 minutes of the game, we had some bad things happen. One of those, first play of the game, sounds like Jason Tatum hurt his ankle. And then we had our good friend Jaylen Brown was being a turnover machine. I believe that he ended the game with 8 turnovers, and you cannot do that as the number 2. Just kind of looking at the box score here, that the first quarter really set the tone. Miami won it 22-15. Then the second quarter they put up 30 points to 26. They lost the third quarter 24-25. And then the fourth quarter, I felt like they just completely quit. 3-pointers were not their friend. Tatum had gone a very long time with just one shot from Tatum. So I have here a Boston fan. This is a safe place. Monray, go ahead. It's okay. Just feel free to. You can gush and talk about how great your season was and how proud you are of your boys, or you can absolutely throw them under the bus, or you can do a mixture of both. Whatever you want to do, okay?
This was just sad to watch. I ain't gonna be before you long. I ain't finna go into no long spiel. This was just sad to watch. Had a good shot at making history, had all the momentum and everything, and as soon as
Mm-hmm.
Tatum gets hurt, the entire team falls on his face because there's a bunch of people don't want to realize and didn't want to accept that Jason Tatum is the main star of the team. He's the key spark of the offense, and when he goes down, the offense stalled. That's just exactly what happened. They started off well, 9-6, and just as soon as his ankle got turned on him, and he couldn't get all the lift and couldn't do all the moves and couldn't shoot because the ankle was killing them and stuff. The entire offense just fell on his face. They could not generate a lot of consistent offense. And
Mm-hmm.
so Jaylen Brown did, as your number 2 or your other star tends to do. He took more of the aggression, and he literally showed why I have said and why there are many people that understand that Jaylen Brown is not a number 1 guy. It's just not it. He's just not, at least not on this team. I will not say on every other team what if he chooses to go somewhere else. On this team, he is not a number 1 guy. It just clearly shows because he struggles with dribbling, he struggles with turnovers, and it's just not there. And it's just
We've seen him pick it up when Jason wasn't having a good game too. We've seen him do that before. He's capable of doing it, correct?
yeah, he's capable of picking it up. But there's never been a significant number 1 guy moment for Jaylen Brown. There's never been that. Especially not when the most we had was when people was trying to highlight, during the finals debacle last year when Jason Tatum struggled from 2 all throughout the finals. Jaylen Brown was giving his best. But you just clearly see it like all the way through that same playoff run when Jason Tatum was the main one scoring almost 30 points. You saw it through this same run where the tough times coming up, whether he needed to score 13 in the fourth quarter, whether he came up with 51 in the last game 7. Like regardless, I've saw it said the same thing. Tatum has higher highs and lower lows, and Jaylen Brown normally is like straight through the middle. Like
Yeah.
it's not there. It's not on this team. It's just not there. So this game is a perfect example. It's like, okay, no, Jaden Tatum, like Brown can take up. No, this is Zach. Now this was a rough game for him, but no, it's just not there. So the same problem just ended up coming. Now the game is not his fault. That's not what I'm saying. But even though 8 turnovers is bad, it just that's more of a result of him having to do more and the
He
other
took 9
team having to pick
three-pointers,
up.
good sir. He was
Yeah,
1 for
having the other
9 from
team
3-point.
pick up more on him because they know that Tatum isn't going to do like the aggressive things he is, so they can pick up more on Brown, and it just kept picking his pockets and stuff. So it
8 for
was a
23
sad
is
way to
not
go
good.
out. Our 2 stars struggled for different reasons. It was a sad way to go out. It was a sad way to watch. It was sad to watch after pretty much after halftime. I already knew how this was going because like unless his ankle made a miracle, it never really looked like they was gonna be able to mount that comeback. So they kept
The
getting.
worst
I think the best they got was within 7. That was about it. So I ain't even worried about the season because like any expectations on the season don't really matter to Boston at this point. It's just like it's the playoffs. It's what once you get to the finals and once your team is able to consistently make playoff runs, what you do in the regular season doesn't matter. It's literally just getting to the playoffs. And they got to the playoffs. They're one game away from the finals, even though they had the debacle of giving 3 games to the Heat. But I mean, it's just sad to watch. And so now they just have to go into the offseason trying to make some big splash, most likely with whatever trade they try to do, some big splash, and have all the questions of if Jaylen Brown is going to leave or not. They got to deal with all that in the offseason and all that going up to the trade deadline next year. So we'll just see what happens. I know it was a good season, but it was a bad end. And the goal was to get back to the finals. That was the goal because last year they got to the finals and they lost in 6. So the goal was to get back to the finals. So it was a nice season, but it ended sadly, it ended a little premature than we hoped for. Did what it
I,
is.
I would ask, so what do you think is next for Boston? What do you think is going to happen next
They're
year?
gonna try to do some big splash move. If I had to be honest, they're gonna first try to see if Jalen Brown wants to stay with the team or not in the offseason. That's gonna be the number one concern because if he gives a directive that he wants to leave or that he's going to be gone after next season, then somewhere between this offseason and the trade deadline in I think February or something, somewhere between those two moments, he'll get traded if he has the umption that he wants to leave. If he has the umption that he wants to stay, then they'll probably try to go ahead, sign him to an extension, and just lock up their 2 stars. And then after that, they'll try to do something with the other pieces of the group around them and just go from there. That'll be what they try to do. That's gonna be their
It,
number one concern. And after that, some big splash move, try to get some. I don't know. They probably go for some big market name or something like that because this is pretty much the best team they've been able to do, just like getting extra pieces and stuff. Outside of maybe, so I don't. At this point, either is lock up Jalen Brown if you can, and after that, try to find something to see if you can get them over the hump. Also, they're gonna try to see if they're gonna still try to fire Joe Mazzulla or not. Not sure about that one. He did come
I
back 3 games.
because that's what I would ask. First of all, these are the only two lingering questions I have. First of all, is Williams only good for just alley oops? He was 4 for 5, but there was alleys. But like, do you have anything else in your bag? Because I mean he got those were some easy buckets he was getting, but he wasn't getting the ball a lot. And then also the follow up question to that is Missoula, is he a good coach? Because I saw no type of adjustment whatsoever. If Tatum is hurt, so what's next? If Tatum's hurt, you have to have, that's the mark of a great coach. Is if something is not going right, LeBron's out, Jordan's out, anybody, your star is out, or can't play the way that they want to. How do you adjust? And that's what Eric Spoelstra does in Miami. He adjusts and he coaches the hell out of his team in regards to what they should be doing. But I didn't see that from Missoula. I didn't see him calling these sets to get people in easy baskets to keep the game going. It was just anybody who get the ball, just throw the ball up. Just throw it up there.
Uh, as far as Robert Williams is like I say, he's a good, solid, center, backup starter center. But if you expecting like great things from him like that, it's not really the type of
Not
game.
expecting Shaq out of this, no.
Like, it's not really the kind of game he has. It's not going to be this kind of person to take over or anything of that nature. And that's either him or Al Horford at this point in Horford's career. Neither one of them are really expected to do that kind of thing. It's just they normally have the 1-2 punch. You have Horford come in there for his experience, good defense, be able to space the floor. You have Robert Williams come in there for hard nose, try to get some rebounds and stuff. But neither one of them are like the top tier kind of big man that you would be looking for to try to make some splashes. If they want to try to do something, they're welcome to do something like that. As far as Joe Mazzulla, is he an amazing coach? No, at least not of this first run. But I mean, you do have to sort of understand he did get the team about halfway through the season. He did good with what he had, and they did make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, if they got swept, I mean, the scapegoat head got to go to somebody if they get swept out of it.
He
So
was he was gonna take the full brunt of that.
so the lobbing was gonna go towards him for the month. But now that they made it to game 7 and he got a bit of a scapegoat of, well, we made it back and then Tatum got hurt and tried to adjust to have Brown, take over a majority of the role, but the shots wasn't falling for Brown. They doubled up on him a lot more and just picked his pockets, had a whole bunch of turnovers and stuff. So is he an amazing coach? No. But was he solid for what you got out of him? Yeah, he was solid. Like you can't really ask for much more than getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, getting to a game 7, even though there was some debacles. Giving up game 3 was bad. The game 2, letting go of a 9-point lead with less than 6 minutes left, that was also bad. It's some bad moments in there. I wouldn't be upset if Joe Mazzulla was still there, because on the alternate, they did already sign him to the extension during the regular season. They already gave him the extension. Now they just want to go look back at it, whatever the case may be. I'm not gonna be mad if Mazzulla's there. That's not my point. The alternative you got to look at is like, what's better? Like, you're gonna look at it and be like, okay, if you chose to get rid of him, you're either gonna try to find lightning in a bottle 3 times because you got lucky with Ime Udoka finding him out of nowhere. Then you got lucky with Joe Mazzulla, somebody that can actually get you through the playoffs at least. So you got lucky on strike 2. You gonna try to find lightning in the bottle 3 times over? Like, I ain't necessarily looking forward to them trying to strike lightning 3 times. Or if they don't do that, that means I'm going to this head coaching carousel that the Suns and the Bucks and these other teams don't went through. And I ain't trying to look up and see Doc Rivers back in Boston on some crap like that. I ain't trying to see that. Monty Williams is fine. I got nothing against Monty. I ain't got nothing against Bud. But I'm just saying, like, you almost like trading problems. So it is what it is. I'm not against Joe Mazzulla being there, but if you're gonna choose to get rid of him after you gave him the extension, that just means that you prematurely gave him the extension. And then even after that, it's like, are Bud and Money really better options above that, or like
That's
even
a
worse?
fair
Are you trying
question.
to just find somebody in the loop again and just hope for the best?
That's
Or
a fair question.
it's just question. It's
But
questions
that's
they have to
but
ask
you
themselves.
you know where that question goes to? That goes to one person because Missoula went up there. He took on the fire. He said, was the 3-pointers? Was that an issue? Is that something that you're going to change? He said, no, we're not going to change that going forward. No, we got there by the 3. It is what it is. But all these questions that we're asking need to be directed to one man and one man only, and that's Brad Stevens. This is of your design. And Danny Ainge had to make his decision about Ime, and that is what it is too. But end of the day, these questions go to Brad Stevens. What are you wanting to do? How are you about to approach Jaylen Brown at the end? He is the GM, basketball operations, all that. So what is Brad Stevens going to do as a former head coach of this team that they pretty much quit on?
I don't really know at this point because it's just like the way you lost wasn't really a way that you can be proud of. And it's like you can be proud of coming back, but you can't really be proud of a loss where like we only got more of it. I ain't gonna say we only lost, but we only got in such a deficit because of some lack of motivation in the team in certain games and because of an injury. Like you're not gonna be happy on this kind of loss because we lost because our top star got injured and our secondary star, tried to take the reins and had a rough game, because of different things. Like I'm not, and like I said again, I'm not blaming Jaylen Brown or anything. He tried his best, take up the reins and take up more of the offense because Tatum was hampered, and it's just and Tatum even tried to give some more go of it. He stayed out there. He tried to force it as much, so he couldn't really generate a good game either. It's like you're not going to necessarily like this kind of loss, especially after coming back 3 straight games, got all the momentum at home, and you're just not going to like this loss. This loss is going to leave a sour taste in their mouth. It leaves a sour one in
Yeah,
mouth.
of
Follow
course.
that up from losing at 6 against the Warriors last year, and it's been a rotten taste for Boston the last 2 years. It's just been a rotten taste. It's been a coaching carousel, because this will be our 3rd coach in 2 years. So it's been a coaching carousel. It's been a rotten taste of 2 exits out of the playoffs and late playoff runs, and it's at this point it's sour. It's just a sour taste, a sour leave. So I'm not gonna really be mad at Stevens regardless of which route he chooses to go. But I don't really know if running it back with the
That's
exact
not this.
team the
This
way it
team
is.
does not work that way.
I don't know if it's going. I don't know if that's just going to be able to tip over the. I don't know if that's going to be get you over the hump running exactly the way that it is right now. Like unless you get another step forward from Brown and Tatum, where they both make a step to be, quality guaranteed scores instead of like streaky. Like, unless you can guarantee you're going to get that from them, I don't know if you can just run this back. Now, I'm not saying do some drastic change. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just, you got to find some form of consistency in scoring from the team. How you do that, I'm not sure.
Malcolm Brogdon got 7 minutes today.
He just came back from his injury because he had an elbow injury. He just came back this game from the elbow. So I didn't expect much from him either. But it just seems like, the injury bug hit at the worst possible time for Boston. Combine that with, some coaching and the motivational issues they had throughout the series, and it's just
They left some shooting on the bench as well today. Mike Muscala got 0 run. Luke Cornett, he got 0 run. I still think it's hilarious that Blake Griffin is just DMPs out here. But I don't know what any of that's about. But I mean, they left some shooting. Sam Hauser can shoot. When things aren't working so hard, but you got Marcus Smart giving you 9 points. I think that's the area that they need to address is Marcus Smart's on the team. Yes, Caleb Martin 100% was a dog, and he was 100% a big reason why they went on that wonderful run that they went on. That boy thought it was Michael Jordan for a second. But I gotta say, I Marcus Smart just he's not consistent enough from a scoring standpoint for me to where do you really want to move on with him unless you can find something better? Yes, he can play tenacious defense. Yes, he can do that. I get it. But offensively, man, he leaves a lot to be desired. If he's not getting a fast break steal or he has one of those streaky hot games, man, I don't trust nothing that he does offensively. So that's where I'm at. You got any final thoughts, brother?
Final thought is the same thing you said during your spiel just now. The way to sum up Boston's season, the way to sum up their game and everything, same way you can sum it up last year. They left points out there.
Yes, they did.
This is this time of injury and some other stuff. But either way, they left points out there this time.
Now dig this.
Oh, well, I'm out.
Now, ladies, if you're looking for somebody to not leave points out on the court, give it my all, shoot 2 for 98.
Help.
And look no further than me. That's right. Go to ChristianMingle.com, look up Bartholomew, and baby, I leave it all on the court. Also, where can they find you at, Monray?
I had to block myself out from that, but it's your boy Monray Hudson. You find it everywhere it says Monray Hudson, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all over. I'm everywhere. Blur Cartel, over on 99 Media, and even Buzz. I'm here through the good and the bad.
Back shout out to Blur Cartel. Shout out to all the homies over on 99 Media. It's going to be a big week. This is Spider-Man Multiverse Week, Spider-Verse Week. So very excited for this. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Do You Hear Me? With Unico Williams. Game 1 on Thursday. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Don't forget, every Thursday, the full podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and mama, I'm on Spotify. Over on 99 ENT, bring you videos from Friday all the way to Friday. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Again, thank you so much.